Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Throne of Eldraine draft. Before I dive in, I do want to remind you that if you enjoy the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel to join our community, click that bell so you don't miss any future videos, and leave a comment in the comment section down below if you have any thoughts about the draft or the gameplay. But without further ado, we're going to dive right in to Throne of Eldraine, and we have here a pretty interesting pick. We finally don't have just a busted rare to start with. We have a Ironcrag Feat, which is unplayable and limited. And then in the uncommons slot, we actually have some pretty cool cards. So Hypnotic Sprite is quite good in a mono blue deck. It has a really nice interaction with Runaway Together, where you bounce the Hypnotic Sprite, and then you can use the counter spell again. So if you have like 5 mana up in the late game, you can like counter the creature anyway. And I've had that done against me, and I've actually done that myself. It's a very cool interaction. So keep that in mind in your own games. But Hypnotic Sprite is just a pretty cool card. You generally don't want to cast the 2-mana 2/1 unless you're like a beatdown deck, because a lot of the blue decks are more controlling and actually really value a counter spell. Thank you, Corrosion Science. I appreciate it. But yeah, Hypnotic Sprite is quite good. But I think it's a little bit worse than Turn into a Pumpkin, just because it's a little bit clunkier. Turn into a Pumpkin just immediately good tempo play, and doesn't suffer from the clunkiness that Hypnotic Sprite does. I think Turn into a Pumpkin is slightly better than that. And I think Giant Opportunity is a card that you will play, and certain decks really do want it. But I think you don't really want to start your draft with it. Ooh, it's cool. It flickers between the two. In the commons slot, we have Fierce Witchstalker as the best common. This card is just a house, 4-mana, 4/4 trample, comes with a food. Really a pushed common. And then the other best commons are Merfolk Secret Keeper, just a key part of the mill deck. And then there is a Golden Egg, which is pretty good like early in a draft because it's almost guaranteed to make most decks you play. But not like a super like important card to take early. And then there's Garenbrig Paladin, which is just a solid card, but definitely worse than Witchstalker. I think we're going to take one of the uncommons, and I think we're going to end up onto the Turn into a Pumpkin over the Hypnotic Sprite. Another advantage of the Turn into a Pumpkin is that Hypnotic Sprite is double blue to cast, and this is only a single blue, so it's like if you end up with a 10/7 mana base with only 7 islands, Turn into a Pumpkin's a lot better. But yeah, I think Turn into a Pumpkin's a little bit better than Fierce Witchstalker, so we're going to start our draft off with that. Even though I think green is like a pretty good color. I did just do a green draft a couple drafts ago. I haven't played blue in a while. It'll be cool to see what it has to offer. And now we can follow this up. This is actually a pretty interesting pick. There's a Charmed Sleep, and there's a Reef Soul. So those are like the two cards that immediately jump to mind. We don't really want Heraldic Banner because we're not really an aggressive monocolor deck yet. The Flutterfox is okay, but I think the Reef Soul is just better, so we would just always take Reef Soul over Flutterfox. And then Charmed Sleep is like interesting because it goes with our Turn into a Pumpkin so well. But again, the Charmed Sleep has a lot of downsides. So basically the problem with Charmed Sleep is it dies to enchantment removal, artifact removal, self-bounce in the form of Runaway Together, though I have seen much less of that card since a couple of the patches on Arena. And it also just gets wrecked by like Shepherd of the Flock also self-bounces. It just exposes you to a lot of stuff that you don't normally have to deal with. And then if they have like a Silver Flame Squire, they can untap it. So I think I'm going to take the Reef Soul here. I wouldn't fault someone for taking the Charmed Sleep, but I like Reef Soul here because not only do I think it's a better card than Charmed Sleep, it's also easier on the mana. So if I end up in like a green-black deck and I have 10 forests, 7 swamps, it makes Reef Souls easier to cast than Charmed Sleep. This card really wants you to be like heavier blue. And also, I'm only pick 2. I don't want to like commit myself into 2 colors. Like into 1 color right off the bat for something like a Charmed Sleep, which is like a slightly above average card, but like not an insane card or anything. And we get another interesting pick here, a little bit rewarded, I think, because I think Savvy Hunter is the pick here. It goes with the Reef Soul that we already have. Green-black is a very good color combination, and also Savvy Hunter is just a stellar card in its own right. 3-mana, 3/3 that can make food when it does different things. It's quite good. The other cards that are pretty good in the pack is Flutterfox, Rosethorn Acolyte, Searing Barrage. I think that the Flutterfox is better than the Searing Barrage, but Flutterfox doesn't combine as well with these colors. Red-Black is a pretty good deck, and Blue-Red is a pretty good deck, whereas Blue-White can sometimes struggle, and Black-White can sometimes struggle to have an identity. But I think Savvy Hunter is just a decent amount better than both of these other cards. And it does work well with the Reef Soul that we already have, even though we would abandon the Turn into a Pumpkin. And I think it's worth taking over a Searing Barrage here, or a Flutterfox. I think I would go Savvy Hunter in this pack, and then I would take probably Flutterfox anyway, and then Searing Barrage, and then Rosethorn Acolyte. But I think the Enchanted Carriage is a pretty distant card in this pack. it's just a little bit clunky. Even though the card can be played in any deck, it's not like insane in any deck. There are certain white decks where it can really thrive because they incentivize you to go wide sometimes with things like Silver Flame Ritual. But I think overall, I'd much rather have a Savvy Hunter here. Ooh. Hoo, hoo, hoo. So now there's a Drown into the lock, which goes well with the turn into a pumpkin type strategy. Which, like, it would go with the Reef Soul and turn into a pumpkin as, like, a mill card. Then there's a Smitten Swordmaster, which is just a solid black card that could, like, help me form a foundation for other decks. I think I would definitely take Smitten Swordmaster over the Foreboding Fruit. And then there's also a Giant Opportunity, which kind of goes with the food synergy deck that I'm potentially building. And then there's also, like, a couple commons, like Rimrock Knight is the best common that's not in my colors. Like, I think it's better than Smitten Swordmaster, but it doesn't really... It would involve going into another color. And then the 2 Unveiled Treefolk is another solid card. Huh. The thing is, I've never been super impressed with Giant Opportunity. It's only, like... it's only good if you're making the 7/7, and getting 2 foods is no trivial matter. And you also have, like... other ways to spend your food a lot of the time. So, like... Sorry for the sniffles. I do my best to... not do that. But yeah, the thing is that 2 foods you can often use for other things, and if you're making 3 foods for 3 mana and a card, it's generally not worth it. And like when you have a thing like Savvy Hunter, you can like draw a card with 2 foods while also being able to just make foods. So I think in this pack, it comes down to Giant Opportunity, Drown in the Lock, and Smitten Swordmaster. I think 2 Unveiled Treefolk is a little bit worse than the Smitten Swordmaster, and we have more reason to want to take a black card to go with our Reef Soul than to take a green card to jump into kind of a third color here. I think Foreboding Fruit is definitely worse than that. Rimrock Knight is the card that I would take if I was jumping into another color. Even though it doesn't really go with my other cards, it could definitely find a home in a Reef Soul deck. Merchant kind of goes with the blue card that we already have, but I like the Rimrock overall better. Yeah, the bounce does also make the Giant a bit worse. I agree, Fruit bad. So here I think it mainly comes down to I think I'm going to get rid of the Swordmaster as a pick. I think if I end up in a black deck, I'll be able to get some of those, and it's only really as good, like at its best in an aggressive black deck where the Curry Favor part is really good. So I think it's between Drown in the Lock and Giant Opportunity, and I think I'm going to take Drown in the Lock, just because I already have a blue card and a black card, and Savvy Hunter is kind of more of a speculative pick, and Drown in the Lock could also like really make my deck much better if I end up in a blue-black deck. I agree, Psychologist. I agree. And now there is a Steelclaw Lance, which is another very powerful card. We kind of have like the black gold cards going around. This card can definitely make or break a black-red deck. We did just see a Smitten Swordmaster, which kind of goes quite well in that deck. So I could see taking the Steelclaw Lance. There's also the option of just taking Curious Pair, committing more towards a black-green deck, taking Reaper of Night to just get... because that'll work well in a black-green deck or a blue-black deck, because they're both kind of grindy and they both would value having the first copy of Reaper of Night. But we did just see a Rimrock Knight, so I think we're just going to keep taking the gold cards and take the Steelclaw Lance here, because it's going to be a very high value pick if we do end up in a black-red deck, and we're not going to really miss the Curious Bear or the Reaper of Night. But if we end up in black-red and we miss out on a Steelclaw Lance, we're going to be pissed, or really mad. Not necessarily pissed, but angry. Okay, and now this is a pretty late Mad Ratter. This is definitely a good card for the Draw 2 Synergy deck. Other than that, there's an Outflank, there's a Tempting Witch, so not much. Again, this is going to be a pick where we just take the Mad Ratter and like see if blue-red's open maybe. We have definitely seen black signals, but these are kind of all gold cards. We're definitely just still hemming and hawing. And we want to, like, if we end up in a blue-red deck, we're going to miss out on this card like heavily. We're going to really regret not having it, whereas missing out on a Tempting Witch is much less likely. Struggling with the draft and then going white-blue mill with Folio. Just won a 30-minute match. Impressive. Okay, so we now have inroads into blue-red. We have inroads into black-green, into blue-black, into a red-black. This card could also go into a black-red deck in theory. And now the best card in this pack is a Flutterfox. But I think that it's harder to view this as a signal because it could also just be that the bots don't think this card is a real card. I don't think we want to jump into white. We don't have enough support. If we jump into white, we're just going to confuse ourselves too much. I think at this point we just kind of want to make sure, like say, okay, we're not going to play white. We need to focus on other things. And I think in the interest of that, we're going to take 2 Unveiled Treefolk to potentially go into this black-green deck. We don't really care about Garenberg Squire, and Crashing Drawbridge is kind of a red-green card in my opinion because you have a lot of big creatures to like haste out, and you care about the being aggressive to a certain extent, whereas in a lot of other decks you don't really care about those things. So I think we're just going to take the Treefolk over the Flutterfox. Flutterfox is just going to be too hard to get going. Okie doke. And now there's a Ferocity of the Wilds, which does work pretty well with Mad Ratter. It's a kind of cute combo. And then there's also like some chance to end up in like a black-red deck. But Ferocity of the Wilds is much better in a red-green deck, which we could still end up in. And then there's also just a couple of generic red cards. Again, I think Ferocity of the Wilds, I haven't gotten to play with it, but I've had people discuss it with me, and I've played against it and had it been really brutal against me. And I think Raging Redcap and Weaselback Redcap are much more replaceable than Ferocity in the decks that want it. So I think we're going to take the Ferocity and see what seems open. And now there's a Garenbrig Carver, kind of good for an aggressive deck. Gingerbrute, kind of good for an aggressive deck. I think the blue is not open. We haven't seen any blue cards. And we didn't wheel the Secret Keeper. So we kind of can narrow it down to the Jund colors. And I think that Giant Opportunity is, while it seems solid, it's like kind of hard to get going. So I think we're just going to take the Garenbrig Carver and maybe lean towards an aggressive red-green deck potentially. We don't really want the Paladin. We don't really need the Gingerbrute here. Yeah, we're just going to take the Carver. And now Raging Redcap. Yeah, pretty solid to pick up. Another Raging Redcap. Another Two-and-Bell Treefolk. This is a great combo with Raging Redcap. Bloodhaze Wolverine, sure. Okay, so we ended up with a red-green deck. Currently. Our Mad Ratter's not looking like it's going to make the cut. So we have 7 playables here, but no need to worry. We have a lot of great cards. 2 Two-and-Veils, 2 Redcaps, Ferocity, Bloodhaze isn't the best. Bloodhaze isn't the best, but these other cards are great. And then Return of the Wild Speaker is excellent in our red-green deck, because we don't have a single human. I guess we have 1 human. But most of our cards aren't humans. And we're not going to really have a ton of humans. And also, we could just draw like 6 cards with this. So I think we're going to take the Return of the Wild Speaker here over the Scorching Dragonfire. And then see what happens. Ironically, one of the only gold cards we don't have is the red-green one. Milling Sir Conrad feels good, man. But yeah. Other than that, we could take a Scorching Dragonfire, leave ourselves more open. And in that case, we could still end up in a red-black deck. But Return of the Wild Speaker is definitely super powerful, so I think it's worth committing a little bit to red-green here. And then... we can just take the Wildwood Tracker if we want to be super aggressive red-green, though we might end up a little bit short on... I guess we could just be heavier green. Thank you so much, Marina, for the follow. I appreciate it. And then there's also the option of taking Reef Soul and like hedging back towards black-green or red-black. So if we took the Reef Soul, if we have the black cards in play, like as options, these are the types of things we have. We could have a red-black deck. We could have a green-black deck. Oh my gosh. I kind of just want to take the Reef Soul. I think it's just so much higher power level than the Wildwood, and also we are kind of heavier red. So let's just do that, and now we get another Reef Soul, so we have 3 Reef Souls. That's kind of going to make me want to play a black-red deck or a black-green deck, so yeah, let's just take the Reef Soul here and keeping our feelers out. We're seeing a lot of black coming from this direction, which probably means black's less open the other direction, but you can take what you can get, and now we can take an Embereth Shieldbreaker or a Smitten Swordmaster. So this is like a real committing point for us. So I don't really want to play Bloodhaze. The Ferocity plus Raging Redcap combo is nice, but Redcap's only really great with Two-and-Veil. And I think Steelclaw Lance is worse than Savvy Hunter. Also, the Reef Souls are pretty good in a black-green deck. So let's just assume we're black-green right now. And then, would we rather have it, or is Shieldbreaker like a good enough reason? Because I think Raging Redcap's not really a great pull into black-red. So I think we're just going to take, like, if we're a black-green deck, we'd probably rather just have Golden Egg. So let's just take the Golden Egg and then see what happens. And now we got a Deathless Knight. Excellent payoff for our black-green deck. And I think this is going to be the way we commit. Get a Smitten Swordmaster. We do need 2 drops. So I think we'll just take it. Got a Drawbridge. Spore Cap. Flaxen came back, but I think we'll just take Once and Future now. Flaxen's only good if you really have like a lucky clover. We're going to return to nature. We'll probably main deck it. There's enough artifacts and enchantments. Insatiable Appetite. Tall as a beanstalk for the board. Jousting Dummy's playable. So this deck really came together. There's a red card that we could have used. But we'll just take a Keeper of Fables. This card is excellent. Really going to be good in our deck. Just it's always going to be pretty good. And we have a lot of non-humans. So yeah, we'll just take the Keeper of Fables. Over, like, yeah, really nothing for us. Feels bad to give up on a Steel Claw lands, but we'll get a Fierce Witchstalker instead. Yeah, it works well with Reef Soul clearing the day. Fierce Witchstalker's great, so always happy to see those. And now Epic Downfall. Epic Downfall is just such a good removal spell. Definitely taking it over Fierce Witchstalker, even though Witchstalker's great. Epic Downfall is just so efficient. Kills basically anything for 2 mana. Unbelievable card. And now we can get another Golden Egg, or we can pick up a Giant Opportunity. We don't really have a ton of food makers. I think we probably just want to pick up the Golden Egg. And then lost, because we are heavier green than black. And Golden Egg can really help with our colors. And now Bacon to a Pie. This deck is really coming together. Like, it ended up being pretty open, I'd say. So we have, don't really want the Insatiable Appetite. So we have a pretty good late game here. I think I'm just going to take another Once in Future. It is kind of awkward to have multiples of it, but we don't really want Flax and Intruder in this deck. And Once in Future is a pretty good grind card. And now we can either take Curious Pair or Reaper. I think we're just going to take Curious Pair. We're kind of priced into it. We already have a lot of value cards, and we do need some early drops, and also making food is pretty good. I guess we'll take the Lochthwain. Memory Theft can be main deckable. It's not the worst. Another Curious Pair. Perfect. And now I have Malevolent Noble. Nice. This deck really came together. Wow, late Ferocity. I like how we kind of hemmed and hawed our way through that draft. That was a fairly late bake. Oh yeah, I would agree. I would agree completely with that analysis. Let's see, anything we want here? Nope, looking good. Let's just make a couple cuts from our deck. Thank you so much, Grillsy. I almost said Grizzly, but it's Grillsy. Thank you so much, On Tamu, for the follow. I appreciate it. Okay, so I think this is a 17 land deck. And the question, and I think we're going to go 10-7 with 2 golden eggs to help us smooth our mana. And then we need 2 cuts here. I don't think this is an 18 land deck because we don't have insane ways to spend our mana. I think we will cut the Memory Theft. Just a bit clunky. Maybe a Once in Future. Oh, I don't fall for such wordplay, Griddlesy. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Maybe Once in Future. I was thinking about Once in Future. It is kind of worse in multiples. Yeah, definitely. Return to Nature. I think we like all of our early plays pretty much. We just don't want to fall too far behind before our late game kicks in. So yeah, I like getting rid of a Once in Future. Or maybe a Garenbrig Carver, but this seems pretty good to me. Let's look at our color distribution. Yeah, 13-9. 10-7 seems reasonable. This is a double black card. And maybe we'd rather go 9-8. We don't really have any things that are super heavy. Yeah, let's go 9-8. Going 10-7 seems a little bit greedy there. Because we really do need black early on. You'd probably cut the 2-1 Knight, the Smitten Swordmaster, or the Jousting Dummy. 2-1 Lifelink can be pretty nice in this type of deck. How many creatures do we have? 13 creatures. I don't really want to cut too many creatures. It also is nice to have some life gain with the Deathless Knight. Spore Cap's nice just because it can like hold back flyers forever. Yeah, I could also see cutting Return to Nature for a once in future. Kind of like having access to that, though. Yeah, let's just try out the deck like this, and I hope you stay with me for the matches. Before I dive into the matches, I want to give a big shout out to all of my patrons over at patreon.com/NicolaiBolas, and special thanks to the patrons that support me at the credits level: Eric S., Stephen W., and Brent. I truly do appreciate all of your support, and thank you for helping make this video possible. If you want to learn more about the Patreon, you can find that information at patreon.com/NicolaiBolas. But without further ado, let's get to the matches. Hello, and welcome to round one. We're keeping this hand. We do need to draw lands, but we've got a lot of stuff to do with our early mana, and so we can probably stabilize. Thank you, Lamaril, for the subscription. I really appreciate it. 7 wins. I like the confidence. I think we're going to play Jousting Dummy because it attacks better, even though we have this Curious Pair that they know about. I appreciate the support, Lamaril. And wrecked. We're just going to play the Curious Pair. We could, like, play Reef Soul on this and attack, but we're not really an aggressive deck. We're a much more controlling deck, so we'll just hang out, be calm, collected, go with the flow. Yeah, I think that the red is open. That's what I've been hearing. Okay. Hitting land drops feels good, man. We'll probably trade a 2-1 for a 1-1 flyer. That seems like a good deal to me, because we do not deal with flyers very well. And then, so they have 4 mana up, so I don't really want to go for the 2 Unveiled Tree Folk line. So let's just kill this and attack. So normally I wouldn't be happy to use Reef Soul on the Youthful Knight, but it enables it to hit for 5. So you can think of this as being 2 mana, kill a creature, deal 5. Sure. You can hit the opponent. You think I care? Not cool, bro. Wow, they're giving me a lot of time to just hang out. We'll put our counters onto the Curious Pair, because this way, if our opponent kills one of our guys, we still have 2 blockers that will be able to deal with this. Sure. No blocks. Sure. Oh. Okay, now we'll sacrifice a guy. 100% will sacrifice a guy. What do you think I am? Yeah. Ha! That's hilarious. So this is 5 mana. Oh no, I'm just short. So it gives, I can get +6/+6 for these two guys. So that sends them to 1. Gosh darn that Archon. It would have been so good with return. If I hadn't had to pay, I would have been fine. So I can hit for 6. Huh. I'm not going to be good against a pump spell either way, I don't think. I need to be able to pressure their life total a little bit, I think. Rats. Well, I get to kill it this turn. I was so close. I was 1 mana off. Hopefully we draw Reef Soul and kill Archon. Sad day. No! I don't need more land. No! If I had drawn that last turn, I would have been able to kill him. Oh, that's so unlucky. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, we needed one of two things. We either needed 1 more mana on that crucial turn, or we needed to not draw 13 lands. I guess there was nothing we really could have done that game, because when you draw 5 more lands than your opponent, and they have Clackbridge, and you draw all the answers, it's hard to win, but we were so close. So close. Welcome to round 2. This is a good hand. No creatures before the Fabler, but you have removal, so it's good. Ugh. Oh no, I suspect an animating fairy is in my future. Give me Witch Stalker. We'll Reeve Soul that. Killing with the goats would indeed have been epic. We're not going to sacrifice the egg because we have things that care about food, namely the Savvy Hunter. Yeah, my deck was just trying to help. I agree completely. This only says non-human, and this is a human, so we'll attack with this first, probably. I'm fine trading it off for a flyer, because we really struggle against flyers. Kind of sucks that they got to draw a card, but... Maybe I should main deck Fell the Pheasant. Your 18-month-year-old, that's awesome. We're on the same page. Thank you for sharing, Moose Mafia. Oh, the Arizonan is strong. Arizona hype. Oh, goodness. Well then. I would like a bacon to a pie, please. It's funny because if they lose Pinocchio, their clock goes down because this thing will lose a power. Thanks, Moose. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to lose to Inquisitive Puppet. That's the way this is working out right now. It is a human, so I don't get to draw cards with it. Epic Downfall has met its match. The 5/6 Flutter Fox. Oh my gosh, no! It's an extra 2 power from that. Oh goodness. We'll draw 4. Yay, a Spore Cap Spider. Bake, please. Please, sir, could I have a bake? I'll gain some life, please. I'm only going to attack with this guy in case they have a Gingerbread that they can somehow... Yes! Life is good! There is justice! Oh, we got there. Oh! Oh, we found it! At long last! It was all because chat asked for bake. Oh my gosh. We're just gonna get bake and Reef Soul. Gingerbread versus Princess, the craziest of matchups. We actually have lethal next turn with Deathless Knight, presumably. One, two, three, 4, 8, 9, 10. Yes! Oh, we got the W. That was a close one, but we found our bake in time, and we are on to the next round. Round 3, we have a double Reef Soul and Keeper hand. When you have Keeper, he's basically just telling you have to keep. Well, hopefully Return to Nature is useful. I think I'm just going to Reef Soul this. I think Return to Nature is going to have a better target, and Reef Soul might not. That's a close decision, though. Because Red-Black generally doesn't have a ton of artifacts or enchantments and stuff. But I think that I'll be able to find a better target. At the very least, they'll have a Jousting Dummy or something, but I think a Steel Claw Lance could be like a big thing to get rid of. Max punished. If I'd killed the Gingerbread, I would have had a Reef Soul for this guy. Oh, man. So punished. So punished. Oh no. I hath messed up. Hey! I knew this Return to Nature would come in handy. Well, we can't attack, but we can kill Embercleave. Sad day. But we're not dead. Give me removal. I'm not optimistic, shall we say. Well, drawing 10 lands is not a recipe for success. At least not a recipe I can use in this particular deck. But we still have one round where we can battle it out. Hello, and welcome to round 4. I think we're going to keep this on the draw. We just need 1 forest by turn 4. We have 9 in the deck. We have 5 draws to get it. 4 draws to get it. Maybe I just wasn't supposed to use any removal spell on the Gingerbread at all last game. Like, we could just afford to take damage for a while from it. The thing is, we don't really have any natural answer, like a pinger or something. Like, we'd probably have to kill it eventually. Especially if they had equipment. Well, I think I know what we're baking into a pie. Thank you so much, Geronimo, for the follow. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining the motley band of folks here. Take that, opponent. That is the taste of justice. They may have Stone Coil Serpent. I can get back Bacon to Pie after I kill this Fairy Vandal, which I'm going to do while they're tapped out. Good call. That was a good one. I'm just going to put counters here. I can play this guy to block there, or I can once in future back Bacon to a Pie. I'm not under too much pressure. I think I'm going to do the once in future play next turn. But I can also, like, sacrifice a food to this guy to make him a 5/5. Oh, nice. I know that I'm not going to play the Tree Folk, though. It's too greedy. It's too risky. I'm just going to hold up all my mana here. Ah. Okay. So I am dead on board. We'll see if they see it. But I did done mess up, as they say. Thank you, Decalino. I did mess this up. They have me dead. They can give this unblockable. I needed to I needed to not do that. I needed to not use the ones in future there. Yep, they got me. Yeah, I don't think I had much of a chance anyway. Like, I had to kill the stone coil. And if I had not used once in future and had gained life instead, I didn't have enough mana to use once in future and Bacon to Pie in the same turn, so I think I was just screwed. Yeah. Lock Me a Serpent does that. Oh well. Hello everybody, welcome to the wrap-up. I forgot that I was eliminated from the draft with that last loss, so I had to come and film the wrap-up at the end. If you did make it all the way to the end of the video, congratulations. In the comment section down below, let me know by leaving a hashtag rares are strong, because we did lose to some pretty crazy rares. Remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, click that bell so you don't miss any future videos, leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I will catch you next time. See you later.